Hey, I'm Charting Man Dan with the Chart Guys. We're going to be talking about a trade that I've been in for 22 months, why I'm very proud of this trade, what my entry criteria was, why I have decided to begin exiting this trade, and of course, what name am I talking about? So Microsoft is the name. We're going to go over my entry back in January of 2023 and why I am beginning to unwind that position now and why I'm most proud of it. So first, I'm most proud of it because I am a pure blood day trader for the vast majority of my career. And that has been my mindset. I've loved not having positions overnight, start every day with a clean slate, lock it in. And over the past couple of years, I had a goal to improve my swing trading by applying my skill sets as a day trader to the longer term time frames, because it's very much the same thing, just you got to zoom out, you got to be more patient. And essentially the reason I'm doing that is because, okay, day trading is great, but it requires thousands of hours in front of the computer, and I did that for a decade plus. And now that I'm in my later 30s, 36, I don't want to be in front of the computer for the rest of my life. And so knowing that switching to swing trading and less time in front of the screen is something that I want to focus on. And so this is the best trade that I've had since that shift became a priority for me. And essentially, I've looked for long-term positions 2 times in my trading career. And by long-term, I mean multiple years. And that was, well, we'll say 3 times. One was, the cryptocurrency boom in 2017. I kept positions from back then that are long-term no touch. I'll hold them for decades. They go to zero, whatever. Other than that, it was the CVID dump where I deployed long-term capital, and then the 2022 bear market where I was anticipating, okay, we've had significant fear for a prolonged period of time. That's when I want to establish long-term positions, and I want to sell in euphoria. And certainly 2024 here, one of the reasons I'm taking this position off and starting to is because of that euphoria. So the thesis for the trade was looking for a longer term bottom back in 2022, the end of 2022, start of 2023. And so what happened here on Microsoft was we had the low of the pullback 213, and that was the low for months, November, December, and now we hit January, and we hold that level. And I see that hold, and I miss this bounce. I miss a straight up V-shaped bounce, and that was significant. I missed a 10% bounce in a matter of a week and a half. That's a lot for Microsoft. A lot of people would say, I missed it. I missed the bottom. My mindset was, if I'm looking years out, I don't care about 5-10%. I'm looking for 30 to 60% for this trade. I know I don't need to nail tops and bottoms for significant moves when I'm looking longer term. So my mindset was, okay, I see this bounce, bulls. You have my attention. That is a very convincing hold of support. I'm going to scout the higher low entry, knowing we haven't confirmed a daily uptrend yet. And that has to happen if this bounce is going to have follow through. So going back in time here from a couple posts in our chat room. So January 20th, and I've unadjusted for dividends here, so the prices are the same. January 20th was this day right here. So I missed the bounce. I'd say, okay, now I'm interested. I'm scouting the daily higher low. January 20th, we wake up, daily higher low is very quickly set. We break the high of the previous day. 230.68 is now the daily higher low. As soon as that happens, I grab a Microsoft position. I put my stop under that level because that's my thesis. That is either the daily higher low for an inverse head and shoulders trend change, or I am wrong. And I drew out, what would that look like? It would look like, if I'm correct, it's going to look like this. And fortunately, this candle did not stop me out because this came real close. Look at how close I was there. I was less than $1 away from stopping out before a 100% move. And fortunately, support held. The bulls confirm the daily uptrend, they hold support, and they keep the daily uptrend going. And so I stay in that position. And it did end up being this inverse head and shoulders confirming. So my thesis was not invalidated. I stay in the trade. Initially, I had a target, I said, of 280. So first, why did I choose Microsoft? So, okay, I'm not a fundamental analyst. I don't do research on the balance sheet. My thesis is, okay, I know it's a blue chip stock, so I don't have to do in-depth research in that regard to know if it's going to be around in 2 years. And then as soon as they attached themselves to Chat GPT, and that headline, that had me focus on Microsoft. You know, I could have chosen Amazon or Meta or any of these major blue chip tech names. But I went with Microsoft because of the attachment to Chat GTP. I saw the fervor that was being created by this new AI thing that we can touch in terms of use and, you know, get a feel for it. And it's a real tangible thing in that regard. And so that's why I went with Microsoft. And obviously it rode that AI narrative for a significant period of time. So my initial target, I said, was 280. And then I just determined, okay, I think that by that point, you know, by the time we get up to 280, all right, I'm getting confident that the broader market has put in a longer term bottom. And so I'm just going to, you know, I have no risk. I can set a stop at break even and just let this play out. And I'll either lose $0 or make a bunch of money, you know, because this is a long-term bottom. Looking at the 3-month time frame for Microsoft, you know, I was essentially looking for this to be a 3-month higher low after just a straight up bull move from, you know, the end of 2008 and looking for that to be a high low. I didn't anticipate we'd V-shape to all-time highs, but certainly not complaining. So why am I selling now? Number one, euphoria. Number two, statistics. So the NASDAQ, QQQ, just went up 100% in less than 2 years from the 2022 low. That's not sustainable. Am I going to be risking, you know, Microsoft, pretty much 100%, same period of time. Is the risk leaving money on the table from here versus giving this back? You know, things even out over time. It's not sustainable to go up an average of 50% a year. So for me, it's lock in some of this position into euphoria. So I missed the all-time high and I see this big dump and say, oh, darn, I should have taken some off. And so we look for a second chance. And we get second chances all the time in markets. And that's why after a big move, one direction or the other, on the retracement, you know, you set a lower high. Why do you set a lower high after a big drop? Because bears that miss the initial dump short, and bulls that miss the initial dump sell the position that they should have sold. And just off the top of my head, I did this with MSOS, where MSOS, the cannabis sector, you know, I had a large position and a huge win here, and I gave most of it back. And I should have sold more, should have been more protective. There's my second chance. I sold everything into this move up on that second chance, and it proved to be the right decision. So the market often gives second chances, not as good as your first chance. You know, Microsoft, this bounce, I sold 442. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Not as good as 468, but it's a second chance. So I sold the earnings reaction. And that earnings reaction is from end of October 2024 here. And I nailed the top of the earnings reaction, and that's by luck to a certain degree. There was resistance there. We'll look at that in just a moment. But again, got to pull up some proof here. So out. Initially, I sold a quarter of Microsoft, and then I said, all right, I'm exiting a third. From my forever swing, for me it's forever, 442 from 228-ish. So 88% gain on that position. And I sold right here. Why did I sell right here? Number one, I want to be selling into strength. Number two, weekly resistance was being tested. At that point in time, we had a previous top up here on the weekly at 442 essentially. So we're testing resistance. We have a bull move. Did I think we're about to turn around and drop 6% straight from when I sell? Absolutely not. Otherwise, I would have sold it all. It was just, again, I love the psychology mindset of selling partial positions where if it dumps, I say, great, I took some off, good sell. If it keeps going up, great, I've still got a position and my net worth is going up. And I can take a positive psychological spin on it either way. Keep in mind that in the same position, someone with a negative mindset can say, darn, I should have sold the whole thing. Or if it keeps going up, why did I sell any? I could have had a full position. It's the exact same situation, and the only difference is the perception of the individual. You've got to be in a positive mindset in this game. If you're always negative, if you're beating up on yourself, you will never win in this game in any long-term fashion. You have to be forgiving with yourself and have that positive mindset. So I'm out a third of this position. Now what? So I sell a little bit into strength. Now I need the bears to shake me out of the rest of this position. And there's a very clear base of support in the 380s. If that level is lost, we confirm a monthly downtrend. And it's a monthly head and shoulders on the table, absolutely. If that support level holds, nothing is wrong with the structure of this longer term trend. So if this is bearish, we will confirm a monthly downtrend and I will stop out of the rest of my position. I'll leave some on the table, absolutely, but it will still be a very worthwhile trade. If that level holds, we're going to hit new all-time highs eventually. So that is my mindset here for the rest of this position. And I often do that with my trades. Sell some into a move and then have the opposing side need to knock me out of my runner position. And so that is now the mindset that I'm in for the rest of this Microsoft trade. And we'll see if we break 380, and I'll give some wiggle room. We'll call it 380. If I break 380 and stop out, or if we get a new all-time high and maybe I take some more profit into, just under 500 or something. But that is where we stand now. And either way, it's going to be a successful trade. So just wanted to share that review and mindset and also explain a bit why I'm deciding now is the time to get a little bit more protective.